equitable than just to, do the same old, same old.
Okay.
I didn't hear Nick complain about my salary or my auto allowance for years. I mean, I've never heard a word. But now that we're having some difficult times, even though we've been kind of preparing as diligently as we have for the last years, the last time Nick came and visited me, he wanted raises for certain employees. I'm getting mixed signals.
Okay. Is that true? Did you go to him asking for raises for certain employees?
I did. And that was, some time ago. And the fact is that, the board has been very, very careful and pretty secretive about what they have been doing, although it's been on agendas, there's no question about it. But what the board has done is they've really focused and done a good job of it. They have focused the public interest on us regarding pensions. I love to talk about pensions because let me tell you.
Well, let's talk about pensions.
Let's talk about pensions.
Because the feeling is you guys have these incredible pensions. You retire with 90% pay or whatever, and it's going to bankrupt the taxpayers.
Well, let's talk about it. First of all, in terms of pensions, the board has done an excellent job of focusing the public's attention and using it for their own political opportunism on our pensions. But what the board has never said, and you can look at all their political mail they've sent out of pensions, you've never heard them say that our pensions, we have the taxpayers paying for the employee portion. That's what happens with the board members. And in addition to the taxpayers paying our portion of our pension contribution, the taxpayers are on the hook for 8% of a 401k plan that they just voted for themselves about 18 months ago. None of which we have. We pay 100% of the employee contribution. We have no employer-paid 401ks, 401as, or 457 plans. Okay. We have none of that. So just 1 second, that while they have been concentrating on making people watch the money go out the front door, they've been taking out the back door with both hands.
John, again, the argument is that you guys get benefits, they don't, and that you're dinging the taxpayers, the executives ding the taxpayers more than the rank and file.
Yeah, it's all true. And our secret is blown. I don't know what to tell you, Rick. He's talking a defined contribution plan. I'm talking a defined benefit plan. We're supposed to be at $11 billion in our plan. We were at $8 billion at the beginning of 2008. We're now at $6 billion. So we have another $2 billion to make up. The county's paying $306 million a year into the pension plan. And to make up that $2 billion, probably another $170 million next year for 30 years. So we're talking about serious, serious dollars. Talking about some 8% into a defined contribution plan, that's a pimple. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a serious,
and just so some viewers understand, when you say defined, explain the defined contribution is like, in other words, you guys have like a 401k, and if the market goes down, you have less in your plan. The defined benefit, which the public employees have, guarantees them a certain amount. Am I correct on that? Is that?
Yeah.
No.
All right.
We both have the defined benefit plan, the exact same defined benefit plan, except they have, in addition to the exact same defined benefit plan we have, they have an additional plan that's 8% for a 401k, and they don't pay. They don't pay the employee cost. The taxpayer pays it, and that's an absolute fact.
That's been in place for years. Yeah. So here, Nick is again coming around, years later. Now, electeds do not receive vacation time or sick time.
Okay.
So years ago, to at least bring some parity between electeds and appointeds, this little defined contribution plan was put in place.
Given the chasm and even defining things, John, how's this going to play out? What's likely to happen? We've got this estimated 80 million or whatever deficit. What's going to happen?
Or what should happen?
Okay.
Let me go there because, I do have a crystal ball, but, it isn't so perfect. But what should happen is we're so focused at the tail end of this problem where we really can't really affect much. But we can affect change, excuse me, in Sacramento. I mean, there's just a lot of formulas, a lot of systemic budget issues that need to be addressed. And we've got to figure out how to teach them to deal with cycles. When we had our last upcycle in the dot-com boom, instead of setting funds aside and leaving the pension plan alone, they went ahead and increased benefits and spent everything. Now we're in a down cycle, and they're saying, well, we better raise taxes. Well, the taxpayers can't put up with that. We've got to have spending caps. We've got to really do together, we've got to work to get things fixed in Sacramento.
Nick, you get the last word.
Well, I think we need to fix things in Sacramento, but I think here in Orange County, what we really need is we need the elected officials and the executives to step up, show an example of leadership, and begin to get rid of all these perks, $21 million in perks, a remodel that they're doing right as we speak. They're remodeling to the tune of $300,000 their lobby. They need to get rid of all that stuff, and let's come to the table.
I think John heard what you're saying about them cleaning up their act, but how about the employees having to get realistic? Do you agree with that? Is there anything?
Here's a letter we sent to the CEO of the county on January 15th saying we want to come to the table. Do you know what our response has been to this? Zero. No response. So we're ready to go.
Okay.
And,
John, are you
and
ready
they've all
to go?
had it.
Yeah, is it time to go?
Yeah.
Well, you know, Nick has to do his job, and we have to do our job. And we have to protect the taxpayers' dollars. And we need to correct a lot of things. Okay. But let's correct something of substance, not just...
Gentlemen, thanks for coming on. It's a tough issue. And John, I know you're not feeling very well, so in particular, thanks for coming on.
Great, thank you.
We'll hopefully do it again.
Great.
The OC Insider's next, and then the Prop 8 battle and a housing battle on Consider This.